Y'all, stop whatever you are doing right this second, because the whisper making the rounds tonight is not a whisper anymore. It is a full-blown 5-alarm fire, and Cardi B is standing directly in the middle of the smoke pretending she cannot smell the gasoline on her own hands. Listen carefully, because the streets are talking, the group chats are melting down, the timelines are on fire, and the internet just found out that the so-called soft launch romance Cardi B has been parading through Europe with that Nigerian-German goalkeeper Maduka Okoye is allegedly built on the exact same rotting foundation as every other headline stunt her people have tried to sell us for the last 3 years running. And this time, the woman blowing the whistle is not a blogger, not a podcaster, not some anonymous burner account with 2 followers and a stolen anime profile picture. It is his own baby mama. It is the mother of his child. It is the woman he supposedly built a family with. And what Jelicia Westhoff just said about Maduka Okoye, and by extension, about Cardi B walking into that entire mess with her eyes wide open and her PR team steering the ship, is the kind of grenade that does not just end a public relations rollout. It ends a career reputation. It ends a curated image. It ends the fantasy. If you thought the Stefon Diggs disaster was the bottom of the barrel, Cardi B, sweetheart, put the shovel down, because you are somehow still digging. Now peep this before we even get to the receipts, because I want you to understand the setup. The world watched Cardi B parade around Venice at that fashion event a couple of weeks back, arm candied up next to a 6-foot-something soccer player who most Americans could not pick out of a lineup with a spotlight and a name tag, and every single one of Cardi's diehard fans lost their entire minds in unison. They were tweeting like they had just witnessed a royal coronation. He is taller than Offset. He is finer than Stefon. Cardi finally got her a real one this time. Y'all, please, 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 please. The exact same script was being screamed from the exact same rooftops by the exact same accounts less than a single year ago about Stefon Diggs. And look how that one aged. Look at the L that turned into. Look at how quickly the confetti got swept up. And now, before Cardi B could even get her fake little relationship past the 2-week mark, the wife/baby mama of her new arm piece pulls up online and detonates the entire operation in real time. Allegedly. Allegedly. Because we always say allegedly around here for legal reasons. But come on now, the receipts are the receipts, and they do not care about your feelings. Here is exactly what Jelicia Westhoff, the Dutch model who shares a young son with Maduka Okoye, told the entire internet in a series of posts that have every gossip channel on this platform scrambling for footage right now. She says Maduka Okoye has not been showing up for his own child. She says while he was jet-setting across Europe posing for photos with Cardi B under Venetian bridges, he was ignoring their little boy at home. She says he was physically abusive to her during their relationship. She says he cheated on her with other women, repeatedly, brazenly, without consequence. And then, and y'all better sit all the way down for this one, because this is where the whole PR fantasy Cardi B tried to sell you catches actual fire. Jelicia says he was also cheating on her with men. With actual men. She says she did not find out he was allegedly living an entirely different lifestyle on the down low until she was already pregnant with his child, already too far along to walk away without consequences that would follow her for the rest of her life. Come to find out, according to his own baby mama, Maduka Okoye is allegedly not the straight, hypermasculine, football star fantasy the Bodega girls have been fanning themselves over on TikTok for the last 18 months. And Cardi B, a woman who is still legally married to another man who himself is currently swimming in the exact same rumor pool, walked directly into another one of these situations. Again, on purpose. With her eyes wide open. Let that marinate for a second, because the pattern is not a coincidence anymore. It is a lifestyle. It is a business model. It is Cardi B's entire personal brand at this point, and her fans are so scared to admit it out loud that they will burn every last bridge on this platform defending her right to keep face-planting into the exact same wall. Alright, back to it. Let me lay this out cleanly for the newer viewers, because if you have not been keeping score at home, this is the third high-profile man Cardi B has been publicly linked to in less than 18 months, and every single one of them has arrived on her arm carrying the exact same suitcase full of allegations. First there was Offset, her legal husband, the man she is technically, on paper, in the eyes of the state of Georgia and every court in America, still married to as we speak. The same Offset who, back during that entire freak-off era conversation, got dragged into some very unflattering rumor cycles that Cardi B herself has never once truly cleaned up or addressed. Then, before the ink on her divorce filing was even dry, and let me remind everybody in this comment section right now, that divorce is still not finalized. That divorce is still sitting in limbo. That divorce is still a piece of paper waiting on a signature. Cardi B jumps directly into the arms of Stefon Diggs. baby mama number 6, or 7. Nobody can even keep an accurate count anymore because Stefon Diggs has allegedly been running through women like a warm-up drill at NFL training camp. And what exactly did Cardi B do when the receipts on Stefon dropped? What did she do when it came out that this man allegedly had 4 other women pregnant at the exact same time she was pregnant? What did she do when the domestic violence allegations from multiple past partners surfaced online for the whole world to read? What did she do when the accusations from another man about his alleged private conduct started quietly circulating through the group chats? Cardi B logged onto her live and defended him. She gassed him up. She played the ride-or-die routine for a man she barely knew. She let her fans, that same loyal little Bodega battalion that would set the whole world on fire for her without asking a single question, go online and harass every single accuser into silence. Every single one. And then, less than a season later, Cardi B is out here in Venice on the arm of a completely different man, acting like Stefon Diggs never existed, like that entire chapter was a fever dream we all imagined together. Y'all, this is not romance. This is not love. This is not healing. This is a rotation. This is a public relations rotation dressed up as a love life, and the YouTube algorithm has been eating it up because it drives engagement metrics through the roof. But the engagement is starting to sour, my friends, because every single time she cycles a new man in, the exact same story pattern repeats itself down to the letter. Same allegations, same rumors, same lifestyle whispers, same denials, same PR statement, same ride-or-die routine, same cleanup crew, and her fans keep pretending it is a wild, unpredictable coincidence. But hold up, because we have not even gotten to the darkest part of this whole thing yet. Let us talk about Maduka Okoye specifically for a moment, because his backstory is a whole documentary all by itself. This man went viral roughly a year and a half ago, and the reason he went viral had absolutely nothing to do with football or goalkeeping or his stats between the posts. He went viral because a certain very specific corner of Black Twitter, the corner that is chronically obsessed with European features, straight hair, light eyes, tall noses, and anything that reminds them of the phenotype they have been quietly told their entire lives is somehow superior, collectively lost their minds over his face. Because Maduka Okoye's mother is a white German woman, and the features he inherited from her, the softer curls, the lighter complexion, the specific bone structure, sent a certain kind of woman into a full, unhinged frenzy. They started fan pages. They started thirst compilations. They wrote entire thread essays on how he was different and elevated and not like the others, which, translated from colorist code back into plain English, means he does not look black enough to trigger their own internalized issues. And here, right here, is where the Cardi B machine spotted the opportunity of the year. Because Cardi B's PR team, the same team that has been running interference for her since the very first day she stepped out of that reality show pool and into a rap booth, needed a rebound. A big one. A distracting one. They needed something to distract the entire internet from the Stefon Diggs disaster. They needed something to clean up the image after baby mama number 6 started trending on 3 different platforms simultaneously. And they saw this viral goalkeeper, this walking distraction, this man that half the internet was already thirsting over for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with his soccer stats. And they went, perfect, this is our guy. They hooked her up. They arranged the sighting. They controlled the photo op. They controlled the outfits. They controlled the lighting. And they released the images to the press the exact same week they needed the news cycle to pivot off Stefon Diggs. It was a textbook clean wrap. Except it was not clean at all. Because within days, not weeks, this man's actual baby mama pulled up on the entire operation and lit it on fire from the outside. Now let me tell you something about Jelicia Westhoff, because I want you to fully understand who this woman actually is before Cardi's rabid little fan base starts calling her a liar and a hater and a bitter ex chasing clout. Because that is exactly what is about to happen, and it is already happening in real time as we film this. Jelicia is a working Dutch model. She reportedly met Maduka Okoye back in 2021. They dated. She got pregnant. She had his son in early 2023. So we are talking about a woman who has been intimately entangled with this man for years, not weeks. She is not some random anonymous Twitter account with an axe to grind. She is not a jealous bystander watching from a distance. She is the mother of his only known child. And when she saw those pictures of her own son's father parading through Venice with Cardi B, a married American celebrity, while she was at home in Amsterdam trying to manage a baby that she says he barely acknowledges the existence of, something inside her snapped in half. She went online. She posted the allegations one by one. She spelled out the abuse in specific detail. She spelled out the alleged infidelity with other women. And then she dropped the bomb that absolutely nobody was ready for. That Maduka Okoye is allegedly bisexual, and she did not find out until she was already carrying his child. Now, listen very carefully to me on this next part. I want to be extremely careful and extremely clear here so nobody twists my words in the comments. Nobody at this channel has a problem with anybody's actual private lifestyle. Live your truth, whatever that truth is. That is genuinely not the story here. The story is the deception. The story is a woman being pregnant by a man she thought she knew, only to find out mid-pregnancy that she did not know him at all. The story is a woman being trapped with a baby by a man who was allegedly leading a completely different secret life on the side. And then that same man being handed to Cardi B on a silver platter as a soft launch romance to distract the news cycle from her last soft launch romance, which was also allegedly built on the exact same lie about the exact same category of behavior. Because let me remind y'all again, because your memory apparently only holds about 3 months of receipts before it wipes itself clean, Stefon Diggs is also out here dealing with the same accusations from the same category of accuser. Different woman, different context, same allegation. And Cardi B, again, defended him, publicly, loudly, with her whole chest and her whole platform. And now here she is, less than a year later, tangled up with another man drowning in the same exact rumor pool. What are the odds, Cardi? Seriously, what are the odds? This is not bad luck. This is not the universe being cruel and unfair to you. This is a pattern. This is what actual psychologists call a pattern. This is what regular people with regular common sense call a red flag the size of the Empire State Building wrapped in neon lights. And the only person on planet Earth pretending not to see it is the woman lighting candles at the base of the flagpole while smiling for the paparazzi. And check it. While all of this is unfolding, Cardi B's response to Jelicia's allegations has been what, exactly? Nothing substantive. A vague social media shrug. A cryptic tweet. I don't got time for the drama. Post while she is literally the drama. She has not addressed the abuse allegations. She has not addressed the lifestyle allegations. She has not addressed the fact that a woman, an actual mother with an actual child, is online begging the world to understand that her son is being neglected while her son's father plays dress-up with a married American pop culture figure for the camera flashes. Cardi B's silence on Jelicia Westhoff is completely deafening, and her fans' response to Jelicia has been absolutely disgusting to watch. They are calling this woman every ugly name in the book. They are dragging her name through the mud. They are accusing her of lying. They are accusing her of chasing clout. They are accusing her of being jealous. They are accusing her of being unstable. All because she is standing directly in between their Bodega queen and her next scheduled photo op. Now peep the part that really tells you what is going on here at the deepest level, because this is where the mask slips completely off. Cardi B has spent the last 2 years aggressively, relentlessly, unapologetically promoting PrEP. You have seen the campaigns. You have seen the merch. You have seen her giving interviews about how everybody should be on PrEP, how it is empowering, how it is a woman's right, how it is the future of sexual wellness. All of that carefully rehearsed talking point language. And on the surface, sure, sexual health awareness is not a bad thing in isolation. But zoom the camera out. Zoom all the way out to the widest possible angle. Watch what she is actually promoting when you connect all of the dots on the wall. She is promoting being romantically involved with an unlimited rotation of high-profile men. She is promoting being tangled up with men who are, according to their own past partners, allegedly living completely different private lifestyles behind closed doors. She is promoting the normalization of that dynamic. And then, in the exact same breath and on the exact same platform, she is promoting the pharmaceutical solution to the exact risk profile she is normalizing for her audience. Do you see it? Do you see it? This is not accidental brand alignment. This is not coincidence. This is a coordinated messaging campaign. This is exactly what the pharmaceutical marketing playbook looks like when it lands a mainstream influencer contract with a woman who has millions of impressionable young female followers. And Cardi B's fans, bless their little hearts, cannot see it. They cannot see the strings from where they are standing. They think this is just their girl living her best, most authentic life out loud. They do not understand that they are watching a very expensive, very carefully choreographed operation designed to shift cultural norms around several very specific behaviors at the same time. The men, the pharmaceutical, the lifestyle, the rebrand of chronic infidelity as female empowerment, the rebrand of chaos as confidence, the rebrand of PR stunts as romance. It is all connected on the same board. And Jelicia Westhoff, that Dutch model who nobody outside of Amsterdam had ever heard of 2 weeks ago, just accidentally poked a massive hole in the entire operation, because now the whole world is being forced to look at what happens to the women and the children on the other side of Cardi B's stage photo ops. Let us rewind for a second and talk about what Cardi B should actually be doing right now. Because I already know somebody is going to accuse me of being unfair in the comments. I already know somebody is going to say I am just being a hater. So let me spell it out, very clearly, very slowly, in real time. What a woman in Cardi B's position, with her resources, with her wealth, with her platform, with her responsibilities as a mother, should actually be doing at this exact moment in her life. Number 1. Finalize the divorce. You cannot keep playing single while you are still legally married. That is not just tacky, that is legally reckless behavior. Your husband, Offset, is currently, in the eyes of the law, the presumed father of any child you conceive during your marriage. That is not a technicality anybody made up. That is a statute. That is written law. That has real, concrete, expensive consequences that follow children for their entire lives. Get it finalized. Sign the papers. Move on. Number 2. Raise your children. Not perform raising them for Instagram. Actually raise them. Be present. Be consistent. Show up. Stop dragging them into press events for aesthetic. Number 3. Stop letting your PR team hand you men like Uber Eats orders arriving at the door. Because every single man they have handed you in the last 18 months has come with a scandal file thicker than the Bible. And you keep pretending you had no idea, and nobody is buying it anymore. Number 4. Use your platform for something other than pharmaceutical promotion and thirst traps. You have millions of young Black and Latina girls watching your every single move. And you are actively teaching them that being publicly disrespected by a rotating cast of men is somehow a flex to brag about. But of course, Cardi B is not going to do any of that. Because Cardi B does not want to. Because the chaos is the brand. The messy, hyper-public, always in a scandal, always on the timeline, always trending energy is exactly what keeps her name in the news and her streams up on Spotify. And her PR team knows it better than anyone. So they keep feeding her men who generate headlines, and she keeps taking the bait. And the cycle keeps spinning, and the girls at home keep quietly absorbing the wrong message about what love, self-respect, and personal value are supposed to look like in a healthy adult relationship. Meanwhile, Jelicia Westhoff, the actual real person at the center of this whole story, the one with the actual real child at home, the one with the actual real receipts on her phone, is being publicly shredded by strangers on the internet who cannot even find Amsterdam on a map. And nobody in Cardi B's massive, powerful, well-resourced camp is stepping up to say a single word in defense of her right to be heard on this platform. Not one. Not Cardi. Not Cardi's team. Not Cardi's celebrity friends. Not Cardi's stylists. Not Cardi's manager. Nobody. Because to acknowledge Jelicia would be to acknowledge that the entire soft launch was a lie. And if the soft launch was a lie, then the last soft launch with Stefon Diggs was probably a lie too. And if that was a lie, then people are going to start asking uncomfortable questions about how far back the lies actually go. And Cardi B's camp cannot afford to have that conversation happen out loud. Let me talk directly to the Bodega battalion for a second, because I know exactly which of y'all are in the comments right now warming up your Twitter fingers to type at me. Y'all keep gassing this woman up while she is out here stacking L's like they are Pokemon cards. Y'all keep making her the queen of everything black, the queen of the BET Awards, the queen of Essence Fest, the queen of a culture she is not even technically a card-carrying member of. And every single time she takes another public loss, y'all rally harder. Y'all defend louder. Y'all attack whoever tells the truth with more venom in your keystrokes. But at some point, you have to sit down and ask yourselves the honest question. What is she actually doing for you? What has she actually given you in return besides scandal and pharmaceutical ads? What is the real return on your loyalty here? Because from where I am sitting, she is banking those checks in cash while y'all are absorbing all of the reputational damage of defending her every single time she does something that is genuinely, objectively indefensible. And I said what I said, and I meant every single syllable. And I will say it again tomorrow if I need to. Now, let us talk about Maduka Okoye's side of this, because he has been suspiciously quiet since his baby mama went nuclear on him online. His camp released one weak little statement about looking into legal options regarding what they called fake messages, which, if you read between the lines the way any of us with functioning eyes can, is a coded corporate way of saying, we are going to try to discredit her publicly. That is the playbook. That is always the playbook. When a woman speaks up about a powerful man, the first move from his team is never to address the allegations head-on. The first move is always to attack the credibility of the messenger. Discredit her. Muddy her name. Question her motives. And Maduka Okoye's people are following that playbook to the letter, page by page. They are going to argue that the screenshots she posted are fake. They are going to argue that the timeline she gave is off. They are going to argue that Jelicia has a financial motive to lie. They are going to argue that she is mentally unstable. They are going to argue every possible angle except the one that actually matters. They are going to do absolutely everything except answer the actual questions she is raising. Because they cannot answer the actual questions. Because the actual answers would end his football career, end his endorsement deals, and end any possibility of continuing this PR situation with Cardi B. And Cardi B is going to help them. She is going to lend her platform, her fan base, and her entire PR machine to the effort to bury Jelicia's story quietly under a mountain of newer distractions. Not because she genuinely believes Maduka Okoye is innocent. Cardi B is many things, and I will say what I want about her, but stupid is not one of them, and she has to know exactly what she walked into. She is going to help bury this story because burying it protects the narrative she needs the general public to believe about her. If Jelicia's story sticks, then Cardi B looks like a woman who cannot go a single relationship without being embroiled in the exact same category of scandal. And that is a story her brand quite simply cannot survive being told a third time in a row. But guess what? The story is being told anyway. Because the internet does not forget. Because screenshots live forever. Because the Stefon Diggs allegations are still sitting right there in the receipts folder for anyone who wants to look. Because the Offset situation is still officially unresolved and unfinalized. Because Jelicia Westhoff exists as a real human being and her son exists as a real human child. And no amount of PR spin from any team on earth can make either of them disappear. And because a growing chunk of the audience, even the women who used to ride the hardest for Cardi B, are finally, slowly, painfully starting to say out loud that maybe, just maybe, they have been played this entire time. The whisper making the rounds now, not just about Maduka Okoye specifically, but about Cardi B's entire post-Offset arc as a whole, is that this has all been one big coordinated image rehabilitation project. That every man has been placed on her arm strategically like a chess piece. That every scandal has been calculated to a specific news cycle. That every spontaneous photo op has been staged weeks in advance with wardrobe, lighting, and press briefings. And that the whole entire point of the operation has been to keep Cardi B culturally relevant and trending while her actual music career quietly stagnates in the background. Look at the release calendar. Actually go look. Look at how long it has been since Cardi B dropped an actual album that moved the cultural needle. Look at how much of her current cultural footprint right now is scandal-driven rather than art-driven. And then ask yourself the honest, hard question. Is this really a woman living her genuine truth out loud? Or is this a woman being carefully marketed to you as one thing while she is actually something else entirely behind the curtain? Because if the streets are telling the truth, and the streets almost always are, Cardi B is not the underdog Bodega girl who made it out of the Bronx anymore. That story is over. That era is closed. Cardi B is a manufactured product, a carefully assembled brand, a cosplay industry plant, as the real ones on this platform have been saying for years while everybody laughed at them. And the men she cycles through, Offset, Stefon Diggs, Maduka Okoye, and whoever comes next month, they are not lovers. They are not partners. They are not soulmates. They are props. They are set decoration. They are extras hired to make the ongoing movie of Cardi B's public life look far more interesting than it actually is when you strip the makeup off. And Jelicia Westhoff just kicked over a very, very expensive set piece with her bare hands. Now here is where it gets even wilder, because Jelicia is not backing down an inch. Sources close to her camp are saying that she is currently preparing formal legal action against Maduka Okoye's team. Her lawyers are reportedly reviewing the allegedly fabricated messages that Maduka Okoye's people are trying to attribute to her. She is not deleting her posts. She is not apologizing. She is not going quiet. She is not being intimidated. She is doubling down every single day. And every single time she posts again, the story gets a little bit bigger. The circle of people paying attention gets a little bit wider. The list of channels covering it gets a little bit longer. And Cardi B's PR team has to keep spending more and more resources trying desperately to contain a fire they themselves helped start when they cast the wrong man. You want to know the wildest part of all of this? The absolute wildest part? None of this had to happen. None of it. Cardi B could have taken time off after the Stefon Diggs disaster. Cardi B could have focused on her actual children. Cardi B could have finalized her divorce, sat quietly for a full year, worked on new music in the studio, and come back with a genuinely clean slate. Instead, she chose the rotation. She chose the chaos. She chose the headlines. She chose the drama. She chose the trending topics. And now she is sitting on top of a pile of controversies so tall that even her most loyal fans are starting to have real trouble spinning it into a positive narrative. And listen, and I want the women in this comment section to really hear me on this next part. The lesson buried inside the Jelicia Westhoff story is not actually about Cardi B. The lesson is about how easily any of us can end up in Jelicia's exact shoes if we are not paying attention to the warning signs. She met a man in 2021. She got pregnant by early 2023. That is a year and a half. That is nothing. That is not nearly enough time to know somebody down to their core. That is not enough time to know what somebody is quietly hiding from you behind their best behavior. And she is now tied to this man for the rest of her life through their shared son, dealing with allegations she never in a million years saw coming, watching him publicly parade around with somebody else, and being called a liar by strangers on the internet for telling her own truth. That could be anyone listening to this right now. That could be your sister. That could be your cousin. That could be your best friend. That could be you. Slow down. Pet the man. Wait. Watch. Observe. Do not build an entire life around somebody you have only known for 18 months. Because 18 months is not enough time. 18 months is the honeymoon phase. 18 months is the version of himself he is willing to perform for you while he is trying to lock you down. It is what happens in year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6 that actually shows you who a man really is when the mask starts to slip. And by then, if you have already had his baby, you cannot unchoose him. You are stuck. You are legally tied. You are co-parenting. You are locked in. So use Jelicia Westhoff's public humiliation as a warning to yourself. Learn from it. Take notes. Do not let a man rush you into pregnancy within the first 18 months of any relationship. Do not let him rush you into marriage. Do not let him rush you into moving in. Do not let him rush you into merging your finances. Take your time. Take all of it. And to Cardi B, because I know somebody on your team monitors these videos and takes notes for the group text, please, respectfully, sit down. Sit down. Log off. Finalize your divorce. Raise your kids. Make actual music. And let this rotation of PR boyfriends finally end. Because the girls are watching every move. And the girls are learning every lesson. And what you are teaching them right now is going to take years and years to undo in therapy. Now let me get into one more angle before I wrap this whole thing up, because there is a specific detail in the Jelicia timeline that most channels covering this story are conveniently glossing over, and I refuse to let it slide past. Jelicia has said publicly that she tried to raise concerns about Maduka Okoye's behavior long before any of this became a news cycle. She has hinted at private conversations, at family knowledge, at friends who knew what was going on and said nothing. Which raises the harder question. If the people around Maduka Okoye knew about the alleged behavior, then who else knew? Because Cardi B does not just meet random soccer players in Venice by accident. That kind of introduction gets brokered. That kind of dinner gets scheduled. That kind of photo op gets coordinated by mutual industry contacts. Which means somebody in Cardi B's orbit had to vet this man before he was placed on her arm. Somebody signed off on him. Somebody said he is safe enough for the rollout. And that somebody either did zero due diligence, or they did the due diligence, saw the red flags, and chose to proceed anyway because the optics were more important than the truth. Either way, that is malpractice at the PR level. That is a team that has stopped protecting its client and started using its client as a distraction generator. And Cardi B, whether she wants to admit it or not, has become a willing participant in her own public unraveling. She is not a victim of bad advice. She is a co-author of her own storyline. And every single time she signs off on the next photo op, the next soft launch, the next carefully leaked sighting, she is signing off on the next scandal too. She knows. She has to know. Nobody accidentally lands in this exact pattern 3 times in 18 months without knowing. And that is what actually makes this whole Maduka Okoye situation different from the earlier chapters. The earlier chapters, you could give her the benefit of the doubt. You could say she was young. You could say she was in love. You could say she trusted the wrong people. But this one comes after the Stefon Diggs receipts already dropped. This one comes after the entire internet already saw the playbook. This one comes after Cardi B was already publicly warned by half of Black Twitter that maybe, just maybe, she should slow down. And she did it anyway. Which tells us everything we need to know about what the priorities actually are inside that camp. Alright, I have said what I came here to say tonight. Let me open this whole conversation up to y'all now, because I want to hear it. Do you believe Jelicia Westhoff and her allegations against Maduka Okoye? Do you think Maduka Okoye is shaping up to be another Stefon Diggs situation with a different accent? Do you think Cardi B knows exactly what she is walking into every single time she signs off on a new PR relationship? Or do you actually believe her PR team is that catastrophically bad at vetting? And most importantly of all, is it time for the culture at large to finally, permanently stop protecting Cardi B from the natural consequences of her own decisions? Drop your honest, unfiltered take under this video, and do not be scared to be real about it. I read every comment. If you appreciate the analysis, the receipts, the balanced perspective from a woman's point of view, and the fact that I refuse to be bought by anybody's PR team, then hit that big red subscribe button. Tap the little bell icon so you catch every single new drop the second it goes live. And share this video with the group chat that has been sleeping on the truth for way too long. The PayPal link is sitting right there in the description if you want to support this independent channel directly. I appreciate every single one of you more than you know. And I will see y'all right back here in the very next one. Because trust me on this. Another whisper is already making its way into my inbox as we speak, and it is bigger, louder, and messier than this one. Stay ready. Stay awake. Stay tuned. Because the truth is not slowing down anytime soon, and neither am I. One last thing before I let y'all go, because it has been sitting on my chest the whole time I have been recording, and I refuse to end without saying it out loud. There is a bigger conversation buried underneath the Cardi B, Maduka Okoye, Jelicia Westhoff triangle, and it is about how the industry weaponizes black women's public relationships as content. Every one of Cardi B's post-offset rollouts has been treated by the tabloid ecosystem like a season of a reality show. The soft launch, the paparazzi walk, the scripted denial, the convenient leak, the eventual scandal, the pivot to the next man. It is a template, and Cardi B is not the first to be run through this machine, and she will not be the last. That is what makes Jelicia Westhoff's moment actually important. She exposed the machine. She showed what the wreckage looks like on the ground floor, while everybody upstairs toasts champagne over launch numbers. That is why we are not letting her get buried under the next news cycle. Not on this channel. Not tonight.